Hello once again. In this video, I will talk about the Muslim invasions of India and the Cholas. So, let's get started. So far, when I've talked about the history of India, Hinduism was the main dominant religion in the Indian subcontinent. However, a new faith would be introduced to India, and that faith would be Islam. Around 990 AD, a vast Muslim empire known as the Ghaznavid Empire started to enter the Indian subcontinent. Their capital was at Ghazna, which was in modern day Afghanistan. In South India, in modern day Tamil Nadu, the kingdoms of the Chola, Pandya, and Chera continued fighting among themselves, as they have been doing that for over a millennia. However, that changed when a Cholan king called Rajaraja Chola was coronated as the Cholan king in 985 AD. Rajaraja was able to vanquish the Cheras and the Pandyas, thus annexing their territories. With Rajaraja's brilliant war tactics, he easily defeated the Sri Lankan kingdom of Anuradhapura. Soon, the Chola Empire became very powerful, and they were able to annex modern-day Telangana and Andhra Pradesh easily. The Cholas also traded excessively with kingdoms as far as kingdoms in modern-day Myanmar, Thailand, and Indonesia. Because of this, not only did Chola trade expand, but Hinduism and Buddhism were also adopted in these areas. The Cholas built many large temples such as the Brihadishwara temple, in which Rajaraja's name is even inscribed in Middle Tamil texts. It was under his reign that Dravidian architecture got emphasized in Tamil Nadu, and now there are many Dravidian architectural temples in Tamil Nadu. Around 1014 AD, Rajaraja Chola died and was succeeded by his son Rajendra Chola. By the time Rajendra Chola was coronated, the areas in which the Cholas used to trade became so influenced with Chola arts, culture, and religion that they even became Chola colonies. The Chola Empire under Rajendra Chola even managed to conquer the Sri Vijaya Empire of modern-day Indonesia. Rajendra Chola also conquered north and did expeditions as far as the Ganges River, which was in the Pala kingdom. Then, after a victorious triumph, he returned home. Rajaraja and Rajendra Chola are considered to be the most legendary kings of the Chola Empire. Rajendra Chola was succeeded by Rajadhiraja Chola. Back in the north, the Ghaznavids only tolerated Islam and did not tolerate Hinduism in their areas. As a result, they began fighting many smaller Hindu kingdoms in the area. Under King Mahmud of the Ghaznavid Empire, the Ghaznavids attacked India repeatedly and stole all their riches and loot. However, after Mahmud's death, there was a civil war between Mahmud's sons. Their main enemies to the west, known as the Seljuk Turks, were growing more and more powerful, and they also threatened to invade the Ghaznavid Empire. So the Ghaznavids had to focus on them instead of the Indian subcontinent. In the 1100s, the Ghaznavid Empire eventually fell apart and was replaced by the Ghurid Sultanate. The Ghurid Sultanate was still intolerant to the Hindus, and they also still looted the Hindus. The Ghurid Sultanate's most important enemy was the Chauhan kingdom, which was a Hindu kingdom. For decades, the Ghurid Sultanate tried to invade the Chauhan kingdom but failed. However, that changed when, in the late 1100s, a man called Prithviraj Chauhan was coronated as the king of the Chauhan kingdom. Prithviraj Chauhan was known for being a very brave king. He was also a very excellent warrior. The Ghurid king, called Muhammad of Ghori, challenged Prithviraj Chauhan. Muhammad lost to Prithviraj Chauhan 22 times, but in the second battle of Tarain, the Rajputs, including Prithviraj Chauhan, were annihilated. With the Chauhan kingdom demolished, the Ghurid Sultanate now had a pass between the Persian Empire and the Indian subcontinent. Muhammad could have expanded more further south and invaded all of the Indian subcontinent. However, he was killed in a battle. A biography of Prithviraj Chauhan called the Prithviraja Prabandha states that after he was captured, he was blinded. This also states that Muhammad of Ghor blinded Prithviraj Chauhan, and then, knowing his great archery skills, he put on a display to see how well he could do even when Prithviraj was blind. Then Prithviraj's supporter and a poet called Chand Bardai went there. He rang a bell in front of Muhammad of Ghor. Hearing the bell, Prithviraj Chauhan shot Muhammad of Ghor. Either way, this probably happened around 1191 CE. After Muhammad's death, the Ghurid Sultanate fell apart. In 1206, the city of Delhi was sacked by a slave called Qutb-ud-Din Aibak. Qutb-ud-Din Aibak was the servant of Muhammad of Ghor. After he sacked Delhi, he began the Delhi Sultanate and crowned himself as the Sultan. Meanwhile, in the south, the Chola Empire was under a golden age of architecture. However, the empire was very large and was very hard to govern. As a result, modern-day Sri Lanka gained independence from the Chola Empire. Most of Southeast Asia was also independent by this time. Meanwhile, the Pandyas in the south were also threatening the Chola Empire. The Chola Empire was weakened. It also lost most of modern-day Andhra Pradesh and Telangana to the newly formed Kakatiya dynasty. The Kakatiyas were a small chiefdom in modern-day Andhra Pradesh, but they grew to power under Ganapati Deva and Prataparudra. In modern-day Tamil Nadu, the Chola Empire had been completely demolished and replaced by the Pandya Empire. But we'll stop that for today. We'll cover that in the next video. Thanks for watching.